live at the Wealth Warrior broadcast. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everyone this morning? Good morning, Sharon Nix, Rabbi Abukar. Great morning to you. It is my pleasure to see you this morning. I got to tell you something. I have been dying, well, not literally, but dying to do a broadcast about bringing it together, getting ready for 2019 and all that we have to do. We're actually going to be celebrating 2018 on November 13th. So with that being said, what's moving me this morning? What's moving me this morning is us getting prepared to close out 2018. And about this time of year, I get antsy. I also get excited. Why? Because I want to share details with you about how we make this so. And so finally this morning, I'm like, you know what? I'm scrapping everything. I want to talk about what you need to do. Good morning, Valerie Hall, by the way. I want to talk about what you need to do to get prepared for closing out 2018. Great morning, Ron Bell. Thank you for joining me. Oh, first one to join me actually on set. Well, as on set as we can be. So it is my pleasure to see you, and congratulations, Mr. Bell. I believe I saw you in a picture with Common. I think so, and if that's the case, congratulations. If not, I know it was somebody, and I saw you. So I'm just saying. With that being said, here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about laying out your foundation so that you can go into 2019 in an awesome space and place. And because we are changing up the format for Wealth Warriors right after the November 13th event, I want to make sure I get this last bit of information in the manner in which I want to get it into you. So here's what I'm talking about. I'm talking this morning about closing out 2018 on your terms. So for example, do you have any credit accounts that may have gotten away from you? For example, you had a charge off on that account, or you need to negotiate with a creditor and get a positive result. Because remember, 2019 is a form year. That's when things are changing. That's when they are transforming. And real estate, assets, all of those kind of things are going to make, let me put it to you this way, cash and credit are going to be king, and you want to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities that are going to enhance your legacy. They are going to enhance your financial position. Now is the time when you want to look at that house that you have, that you and the bank own together, and you want to figure out, can I pull some cash out of that house? Can I leverage it? That's actually the term I want to use. Can I leverage it? So this morning, we're talking about leveraging. We're talking about getting prepared. We're talking about taxes. We're talking about all the closing items for 2018. And I'm talking about them early. So why am I talking about them early? That's what we're going to be discussing today. So today it is all about closing out 2018 and closing it out on your terms. We're going to be talking about, we're going to break it down in the second segment. I've got announcements, as I always do. And what are economists saying right now? What are they saying? Okay, so with that being said, let's roll it back and let's talk about closing out. What kind of things, what's your checklist for closing out 2018 from a financial point of view that is going to be your legacy as you are building it up? Well, first and foremost, I am going to strongly suggest, before you do anything else, bring your children into the conversation. Bring them in and start getting them acclimated so that by the time they get to college, they are not walking around with debt. Or if they are, they understand it and they understand what they're going to need to do to get out of it. We need to bring our children into the conversation. In fact, I'm going to, at some point, I want to do some sort of a summit around bringing families together and having our children intrinsically involved in the household finances so that they have an appreciation for that. So part of the what you're doing as you're closing out 2018 is let's start bringing the family together and making this a family affair, because that's what legacy is. It is about the family affair. So your checklist, what is on your checklist? Top of the line is what's your cash position? Can you start cutting out things that are not necessary so that you can build up more cash reserve? Because 2019, 2020, cash credit are king, queen. So with that being said, what's your cash position? You know, there's the Secretary of State does annually or quarterly, has a list of assets that are lost that need to be claimed. So do you have some assets that need to be claimed? I'll tell you what, I'm looking at that list and I have found family members that have assets that the state has said claim them. And so, do you start out with those? Do you have old savings accounts, checking accounts? Where is the money? Consolidate that. And now is the time to do it. Why? Because you may be using it to actually pay off some credit card debt. Now, if you have credit cards, so I'm transitioning now, gone from the cash position to talk about credit. If you have credit cards and you have in your line of credit, you've got more on your credit than 20% on that line. So for example, you've got a $2,000 line of credit. 20% of $2,000 is $200. If you are over that, you are creeping. If you are more than 30% over that line, you've got to pull it back. Why? Because you want to pump up your credit score. You want to pump it up. And when a creditor is looking and they're thinking about, am I going to lend him or her some cash? Excuse me, rather, am I going to extend the credit? What are they looking for? They're looking at your line and they're saying, is this person credit worthy enough? Am I willing to extend? Do they pay back their debt? And so, as we talked about credit scores on the 13th, now I am sharing with you that we want to maximize, we want to leverage our credit. So you want to pull those lines down, no more than 30%. I'll tell you, when you hit 50%, you're not in the warning zone, you are in Death Valley. And you do not want to be there because you're going to want to leverage your credit for opportunities. Let's say you, from that credit perspective, as you are working on this, you've got some dings, you've got some things that are outstanding, or you've got some charge offs or something of that nature. You now is getting prepared to negotiate. That's why you want to know what your cash position is. You want to know where all of your cash is at, because you may want to rectify that problem. And so to that end, you need that cash position. And I'm going to tell you something, November and December are going to be the times that we are going to, in fact, negotiate and rectify. And I'm noticed here lately, you're seeing, no, it's not lately, it's been going on for a long time. There are a number of companies, law firms, companies that offer credit repair services. I do not begrudge them. I was doing them many years ago. And here's the deal. You have the power. We abdicate our power far too often. And we abdicate it around some of the most critical things. And one of those, top of the line, is our position, our posture in terms of our finances, which leads to our legacy. And ergo, we keep repeating the same thing over and over. And what's that? That is called the definition of insanity. So, cash position, then we want credit position. Everything is about opportunity. Can we position ourselves to take advantage of opportunities? What opportunities? How many times have I talked about them? I've talked about real estate opportunity, talked about tangible items, jewelry, art, things of that nature, tangible items. We've talked about stock. Are we positioned so that we can purchase? And so now is the time. And you know why now is the time? Because this is the time when people go to sleep. Come November 1st, we get into happy mode, which is great, but let's not lose sight of the big prize. Let's not lose sight of the big prize. Let's get prepared now. All of those receipts, let's get prepared now. So, cash position, credit position, taxes. What does your tax picture look like? You know, you still have time to start a home-based business so that you can take advantage of cash position, take advantage of tax posturing so that you can reduce your taxes, because that's what you want to do. You want to reduce the taxes. You want to have those assets. In the past, you've heard me talk about my econ. One of my sisters, one of my business sisters, Alberta Bogan, here in Boston, Massachusetts, is a person that you will want to connect with. Why? Because she is leading the charge here in Massachusetts, and especially in the Boston area around my econ. And so you want to take advantage of things that are going to position you for strength. Investment. What are you investing in? So here we go again. We talked about cash. We talked about credit, taxes, investments. What can you invest in today? Today, this day, today. What can you invest in today that's going to give you a return? Where do you eat? I always talk about, where do you eat? Where do you have your storage at? Where do you buy? Do any of those companies, are they on the stock exchange? Do they have either external stock, they're on the stock exchange, or do they have an internal stock? They have some sort of a club that you can invest in, some project that you can invest in. Are you investing in those? Stock. We're working our way down the line. These are all of the elements. Are you looking for opportunities that I may not be discussing? Are you looking at investment groups? Are you an investor? Have you declared yourself an investor? Have you put that in the universe so that the universe delivers you opportunities? I do believe we are all matter. We are all energy. And I personally believe that that energy can be drawn from. So are you positioning yourself for that? If in fact you are, let it deliver for you and take action. Because you know, the reality is, how many of us have had an idea and next thing you know, somebody else is actually executing on it? Be about the business of taking action. Again, and sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it just takes work. That is true. And I'll tell you what, if it were an easy path, everybody would be doing it, and we'd be on to the next thing. So let's get comfortable with doing the difficult. I love that one. Let me put that up there. Hashtag do the difficult. That's right. Do the difficult. Why? Because it delivers. So let me try that one again. Hashtag do the difficult. Do the difficult. Why? It delivers. Yes, it does. So let me start off again. With that being said, let me say some good mornings again. Ron Bell, click. Thank you for joining me. Valerie Hall, click. Thank you. Rabbi Abukar across the pond. Sharon Nix, good morning. Joyce Swinson, who is our early riser, the earliest of risers. Regina Jones Jenkins, great morning to you, my dear. Full circle now. With that being said, let's break it down a little bit more. Okay, we have pooled the cash. We have got maybe one or two places that we hold the cash so that we have quick access. Now we're looking for other places that we have cash. Do you have an insurance policy? Are you investing in that insurance policy? There are investment sides. See, we're building the layers. So we have got the cash position. We know where all of our cash is at. Now it's seizing the opportunity to extend or get more credit. If in fact you've got that great credit score, you've had that relationship with the creditor, the credit card company, or whatever that credit source is, and that credit source can be leveraged and it can actually leverage to purchase or acquire, you want to seize an opportunity to see if you can increase your value. Can you get a higher limit? We're not saying go up to the limit, but you want a higher limit. Can you get a limit that is $10,000 or above? That can be utilized for the purpose of acquisition, increasing your wealth, increasing your net worth. Assets minus liabilities, net worth. Can you use your power to increase your net worth? At the end of the day, it's all about the finances. This is what wealthy people, this is what wealthy mindset does. And it's not a hard thing to do. It is systematic. It is consistent. It is posturing that puts you in position so that not only do you leave a legacy, but you live the lifestyle that you want to live. That's what, at the end of the day, that's what the last 4 years of Wealth Warriors has been about. It is about legacy. It's about leaving for the next generation. It's about living a lifestyle. It is about a wealthy mindset. Now, this time of year, more than any other time, it is not just this time of year. It is this time of year coupled with the placement that we are at on the bell curve. Because 2018, we had the form, right? And the form was 2016. Things started to form. 2018 was the mark, was the bench. 2008, 2018 was the bench. So now we are shortly to exit the form and onto the storm. And the storm is opportunity for you. If you've got the wherewithal, cash, card, cash, card, cash, leverage. You are leveraging, and you are leveraging for the good. So start following the information trail. Start doing your research. But here's the deal. We do not want to be in a state of analysis paralysis. We do not want to be in a state of analysis paralysis. Get comfortable and familiar with things called trusts, foundations. Do your research so that you can be setting up your own family foundation, your own trust. Opportunity is here and now. That is the quintessential of what I can share with you this day. Is opportunity is knocking. Are you, in fact, answering that call? Announcements. I know it feels really kind of like I'm speeding, doesn't it? But I'm not. Sometimes the mind takes information. When we give it small bits of information, it gets a chance to process it easier, faster. And it comes up with solutions. It comes up with answers. So I am sharing with you, process what you're hearing now. And that's why I'm repeating it so that your mind takes it in and it processes it. Now it's announcements. October 24th, 2018, next week, I will be the keynote at the Small Biz Buffet, which is happening in Cambridge, Massachusetts. You can go up to Eventbrite and you can get your ticket. Complimentary food. It is nice. It's going to be at the Royal East in Cambridge, Massachusetts on Main Street. You want to go up, get your ticket. And we thank Rogera Toussaint for being the host. I have the privilege of being the co host. And you want to meet and interact with new individuals. It is real estate, it is small biz, ergo the name small biz, and related services. Here, sometimes we say we want to be in the company of those that are talking in the same language. They are talking that language there. I will be speaking on the topic of self-awareness. And it, I'll tell you, it's not something that you hear often at colleges. There are no courses on self-awareness. Self-awareness oftentimes happens in the moment. And so I'm going to be talking about how to make that moment work for you. So that's happening on October 24th next week. Small Biz Buffet, excuse me, rather, yes, Small Biz Buffet. It is happening in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Tickets are on Eventbrite. And then November 13th is the Mix and Mingle celebrating the great stuff of 2018. I am going to be your host along with co-host Wilbur Brown from TRS. This is going to be happening in Boston. It is going to be happening at the Freedom House on 5 Crawford Street in Roxbury. I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. We have a banner sponsor, and that is Boss Lady News, Britt Johnson. Thank you very much. She stepped up. Want to give a shout out and a thank you to Cecilia Badalis of CB Unlimited Tax Consulting. She also stepped up and she is one of our event sponsors. And so we are most appreciative of that. We have videographer Erica Legere, who will be taking pictures. We will be doing live Facebook and Instagram interviews that you will be able to put up on your social media. So you are going to want to be there. We're going to be asking a few people. Of course, our sponsors are going to be interviewed, but we will be asking folks that are going to be attending. Want to give a shout out to Keto Chef at Alexis Winder, first person to purchase a ticket for the event. The event is posted on Eventbrite, and it is the Mix and Mingle. You will find that, and tickets are very cost effective because we want you to be there. We would like to meet some of the people that we're talking to, some of the people that I see you weekly. However, I have not met you personally. I'd like to meet you personally. So, with that being said, that's what's going to be happening. That is our announcements. What are economists saying right about now? Well, we know right now that the stock market has been volatile. We know that the tax laws have not necessarily benefited the general public. They have certainly benefited a number of people, but not necessarily the general public. So I'm reading from economists rather, that we need to be on the watch. We need to be watching where our retirement funds, who is managing your retirement funds. We need to be cognizant of where our funds are being placed. And here's the interesting thing, more often than not, people are not cognizant of the fact that they have the authority, they have the power, we have the power to move the pieces of our retirement funds. We have the power in many instances, or if we don't have it, we need to find out if we do have that power to actually engineer where those dollars are going, how they're being invested. Again, what I have found is that many times we're abdicating our power to someone else instead of entrusting in ourselves. And as a result of that, we're not always seeing the best of the revenue stream. We're not getting the best of our ROIs. And that requires work. It requires that we be engaged. We be engaged in our legacy. That's how we get to leave it. just wanted you to think about that for a moment. You have power. We have power. We've got to utilize it. Get inspired by your power. So let's bring it full circle. This morning, today, my energy said I had to open up and talk about closing out 2018 and getting trajectory for 2019. And that meant that we need to do some cleanup. We need to know where things are. We need to know where our cash is at, what we have access to. Can we leverage our credit? Can we leverage our home? Now, with those three things being said, here is something that is critical. Planning is critical. This is not an off the hip type of thing. We have got to plan. You've got to lay out the structure. It is writing a business plan for your life. It is right. You are the president, the CEO, the founder of Your Me Inc. And there is nothing selfish about that. Draw the children into the conversation so that they grow up feeling comfortable with dollars, for those of us that actually take in a spirited beverage, an alcoholic beverage, one of the things that we do is we teach our children early what alcohol is about. Why? So that we do not lose them at 18 years old, 21 years old, when they can drink and purchase for themselves. Let's do the same thing with our finances, with our legacy. And we can do that by drawing them in. So they understand why mommy and daddy are looking at the cash position. They understand how to use, not abuse, credit. That is such a critical piece. Great morning over the pond, Robbie. It's good to see you this morning. I love it. Thank you. They get to see those things. We need to understand our tax position. Can we reduce the taxes so that we are paying as little as humanly possible? Now, here's a planning position for you. If you are going to reduce your taxes as much as humanly possible, the question of the thought process that you need to be positioned for is, am I going to need to apply for a mortgage to purchase that piece of real estate? If in fact I'm going to need to do that, that I cannot afford for my AGI, adjusted gross income, to be rock bottom. Why? Because generally when we do a loan, it's a full documentation loan. And if we're doing a full doc, we've got to be able to prove that we can afford to pay that mortgage. Ergo, planning is critical. Investments, where am I investing? You know, I always talk about investing where you buy, where you shop. If they are publicly traded, you need to own some. That's right. When I go into Whole Food, I want to be able to say, listen, I'm a stockholder. So therefore, no, you have to talk to me because I'm a stockholder. I don't care if it's five shares. You still got to vote. And if you've got a vote, then you utilize it. Oh, Robbie, I'll tell you, that one is a pin to the top for sure. Thank you so much. Her comment was wonderful. And I appreciate you listening and being here. With that being said, let me quickly share the announcements, and we're going to call it a wrap. October 24th, if you are in the Boston area, if you are in Massachusetts at all, if you are Chantel Bethea out in Worcester, come on down. October 24th, Small Biz Buffet, 6 to 8 p.m. in Cambridge, Massachusetts, hosted by Rajira Toussaint of Urban Niche and Brent Harding of Brent S. Harding Co. How about that? November 13th, where should you be? At the Freedom House with me, celebrating the great stuff of 2018 at the Mix and Mingle. We are going to have prizes, interviews, live interviews. We are going to be networking, speed networking, It is going to be a fun time, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Want to see you there. So, with that being said, closing out, join the Brent Harding YouTube channel. Join the Brent S. Harding YouTube channel because I'm going to be, after November 13th, we're going to be changing it up. I'm working with Erica Leger, who is our videographer. I'm going to be working with her to really enhance my YouTube channel. Actually, it's not just mine, it's yours as well. So we're going to be working together to enhance that. With that being said, go out today and be extraordinary and amazing. And I'll see you next week.